Hey guys, welcome to Rugby Talks, the show where we talk about rugby weekly. Today's show is all about video games and why there's not a massive game about rugby. So, with the sport growing more and more each day, seen by the 12.8 million viewers watching the final of the 2018 World Cup and 857 million viewers overall, there's quite a mass demand for the sport. However, with times like these, there's no sport available. So fans of many different sports turn to other ways of how to get their fun that they're missing from this sport. For example, video games, FIFA, the NHL, NFL. However, with modern day giants like EA mass producing the games like FIFA, NFL, NHL, I believe, there's a wonder why there's no real rugby game, why no large company has mass produced it. And that's all down because they can't. Rugby is far more complicated than football is, hockey is, or NFL. Compared to the average game, rugby has a lot more variables included. For example, football has many tricks the players can form, but not as complicated as monitoring a ruck and seeing if the ball gets loose, and seeing if that ball can then pick it up and then run 100 meters to score a try. Plus, football only has 25 players on a pitch at one time, whereas with rugby, you already have 30 players with just the players playing, not including the referees, unlike with football where the 25 is already the referees included. But then you might be thinking, but NFL has more players on, but then NFL has breaks in the middle, whereas rugby is one continuous flowing game, which is a lot harder to then mass produce because you don't know what's going to happen, whereas the program can then take breaks during the time when NFL has their quarters or when there's a stoppage of game. Then there's also the fact that they just can't track everything. For example, for players running offside, attacking people on the touchline from the middle of pitch, many of the games have got glitches in it because there's just too much data for the program to calculate through. I mean, some of my favourite glitches is where the camera just freezes and you just play around like that, or where it just loses counts of how many tries you've scored, so you just keep scoring tries in the same position, or the fact that you just get about 30 players on one side playing against one player on the other. However, with all my bickering, I did come to some sort of solution how to fix this problem. Now, the best way I see to solve it is having a more football manager-esque game. So although you may not be playing as the player or having your own career, as that's still a lot for the game to handle, being able to manage your own team and manage teams that are already out there would favour the fans. For example, how Football Manager does it. Instead of actually having player models, you could use dots while simming it, which would reduce the amount of data it has to proceed. And they won't have to show any tricks playing off, like what I shared with my example about ruckings. No need for fancy tricks. So already it's all going down. You won't have to exactly have all the referees there at one time. So it all just kind of slims it down for the system, and you would still be able to manage your teams, and the fans even having a chance to start their own team if that's an option that they can make. You could see your own team climb the ladder from the lowest leagues in your country to the highest. You could expand the countries that you have. So, for example, with FIFA, you've only got a certain amount of countries, but with Football Manager, you have a far more range with more countries. So you could do the same thing with rugby. You could have more countries in there. You could then go and manage the national team, which would be also another plus on it. And then you could just see your team go and dominate the league, whether that would be a national team, a team that you've created, or a team that's already existed. You'll be able to. Also, there could also be an international mode where you can scout the young stars that you want for your team. So have more of like a mix between FIFA and Football Manager. Although, what games there are already, it's not bad, but there are a lot of glitches with what they have, because at the end of the day, just too much data to handle. But I do have to say, the games that I have played, they are quite good. I do like... Hey! You! What? Me? Yes, you. Stop playing your fork knives, because have I got a game for you. Introducing Rugby Manager 2020. With revolutionary graphics that could rival a toaster. See, when we designed the game, we had the fans in mind. You can see this with just a package design. I mean, just look at it and its simplicity. Order now for absolutely nothing, because this game ain't coming out. And guess what? If you pre-order now, you'll get an apple free of charge, because it's good to stay healthy. Hey guys, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, go subscribe down, give it a like, and comment what you'd like me to talk about next. Go follow me on my socials, and yeah, just go and like my stuff and tell me what would you like to see in the next video. See ya.